Coast Guard by air and by sea patrolling the Florida Straits. Almost 1,000 people repatriated this week, the vast majority to Cuba and also 83 people to Haiti. You may know someone who's been aboard a cruise ship witnessing these kind of rescues. The latest was Friday when the Liberty of the Seas rescued a group of people who had left Cuba's coast on that small boat. As new rules take hold for those who can stay and those who must go, so do questions about whether that will slow the crisis numbers of desperate people making a dangerous sea voyage. And we have those on the front lines with us today. We begin with Coast Guard Admiral Brendan McPherson, commander of the Coast Guard District 7, headquartered in Miami and at the helm of this week's search and rescue at sea. Admiral, great to have you here today.
Good morning, Glenn. I'm glad to be with you.
So you absolutely are at the tip of a spear of a massive and multi-layered first responder project for this. You were with us in October. I went back, I looked at our conversation in October, and then you said this was not a crisis yet. Fast forward now to January. Would you consider this a crisis now?
No, Glenn, I wouldn't. And the reason why is because we have a plan. As I told you back then, Operation Vigilant Sentry is the Department of Homeland Security plan to deter and prevent a mass migration. And certainly, as we've seen, the numbers of migrants take to the sea has gone up and increased. We are bringing all of our resources to bear within the Department of Homeland Security and with our local and state partners.
So that's something that you do and have been doing. And this week, the rules changed. And I want to get a sense of what the effect has been on the Coast Guard, if any. But right now, just to brief, make sure we are all on the same page. We have viewers from Boca to Key West, so just to bring everybody on board. This is really the first week of your operations under this change in the president's plan for migrants, which summarily expels everybody who comes what the plan says is across the border in any other way than legal. And also provides a lot more of an opportunity for Cubans and Haitians and Nicaraguans and Venezuelans to have opportunities to apply for parole, $30,000 a month. My question to you is, that plan specifically says across the border. I'm not sure we've gotten a definitive answer if the plan applies to the sea border, to sea crossings. Can you address that?
Yeah, I can, Glenn, and it does apply to people that would come unlawfully from the sea and cross the border. Since the last time we talked, you're right, a lot has changed. And most significantly, that announcement made by the administration on January 5th. It provides legal pathways for people to enter the United States. Safe, orderly, humane, and legal pathways are really what we're looking to have here. What hasn't changed is that these illegal maritime voyages are dangerous. They're always dangerous, and they're often deadly. Last year, we know of at least 65 migrants that lost their lives at sea, and it's probably many more that we don't even know about. And so far this year, we've had 13 lives lost. And as I come to you today, I heard you talk about the cruise ship that rescued those 17 migrants at sea. So as a result of some interviews we made and an additional vessel that was found swamped, we're actually conducting a search and rescue operation right now off the Bahamas, supporting the Royal Bahamian Defense Force, looking for as many as 22 migrants that may be in the water.
And was
so
that
for everybody
intel? I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to, is that intel that you received? How do you know? How did you know to go do that search?
Yeah, we got information from the cruise ship, the Liberty of the Seas, who had talked to some of the migrants. They said they were with another vessel, and we found another vessel nearby that was swamped. So until we know better, we're going to search. I hope I'm wrong. I hope nobody is in the water. But as you can tell today, 41 degrees, heavy seas, high winds. It's a tremendously dangerous situation. So we're hoping for the best, but we're gonna search until we know for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see even in summer, I remember the summer in the 1990s, 94, the summer crossings, obviously not cold, but brutal heat and dehydration. And so part of the plan was to get exactly that kind of message out to people to not get on those boats. This week, is there any indication yet that message might be working?
Yeah, we hope so, Glenna. We'll have to see. And what we're focused on right now is saving lives and securing the border. First and foremost, this is a humanitarian mission for the Coast Guard and everybody in the task force. From the governor of Florida to the administration to myself and all my colleagues, We want to save lives, prevent that loss of life. And this new policy allows for some additional legal pathways for Cubans, Haitians, and a few others.
Right. And we will, we've been reporting on that. We will absolutely get into much more of that during this hour. I want to sort of get a firsthand, behind the scenes look at the process on board those cutters, because really what hasn't changed is any migrant has the right to request asylum. And does that happen on board the cutter? Take us kind of through when the crew on the cutter rescues people from the middle of the ocean. What happens then? Take us step by step, depending, I suppose, on what they say, right, and what they do. But what is the responsibility from there?
It has become a nonstop every day.
Yeah, exactly. So first and foremost, our goal is to remove them from that dangerous situation, right? To actually rescue them from those unseaworthy and overloaded vessels. Once they get on board, our next priority is to make sure that they're safe. So we provide them humanitarian care with dignity and respect, give them blankets, food, medical attention. And then if they have a manifestation of fear, if they expressed any fear of being returned, we have a process in place with our partners from U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, another component within the Department of Homeland Security. Well, they will conduct an interview. Those interviews are not conducted by the Coast Guard. They're conducted by USCIS trained professionals. They're either done on board face-to-face or they can be done by satellite phone. And then a determination is made by USCIS whether they are amenable to return as part of the repatriation. The vast majority do get repatriated, and as you indicated at the top of the hour there, almost 1,000, over 900 were repatriated just in the last week.
So they know prior to getting off the cutter that had rescued them, they know whether they're staying or going.
Well, once they get on board, again, we'll give them all their care and feeding, and then we will let them know once a determination is made. If they get an interview, if they meet the threshold for a credible fear interview, based on their reports or what we observe, then they'll be told and they'll be given the opportunity. So those who don't meet the threshold will get repatriated, and we tell them that, and we support them through that. Those who do have a potential credible fear can be brought voluntarily to Guantanamo Navy base, where there is a maritime operations center. And this is where USCIS will continue to adjudicate that case, determine if there's a well-founded fear. And if there's a well-founded fear, the policy there is they'll look for a third country for those migrants to settle.
So, Admiral, on Thursday, we saw a boat come in, an overloaded boat, a sailboat, actually, rather a larger vessel than we've been seeing in the videos so far today. Haitians, dozens, I'm not sure of the number, but an overcrowded boat came into Virginia Key Beach. And last reports, apparently this was a smuggling operation. I wonder if you would weigh in on the minute or so that we have left on if that is a growing problem or possibly a decreasing problem now that there's a messaging out that there will no longer be sort of what a lot of people call an open border. Smuggling kind of kicks it up to a whole other level of crime. What are you seeing on that front?
Yeah, great question, Glenna. So let me tell you something about the smuggling organizations. First of all, they don't care about the welfare of the people that they're smuggling. We've seen cases where they were literally dumped them into the water offshore to evade detection and capture. The other thing is they're going to exploit those people for their money and their families. And so it is a significant concern of ours. We work with Homeland Security Investigations, Customs and Border Protection, and many other agencies to target those organizations and try and dismantle them. The problem is they will exploit. They'll exploit family members here who are sympathetic and empathetic and want to have their loved ones, come to the U.S. And we understand that, but they put their folks in harm's way. And we are concerned that even what used to be sort of homegrown migrant ventures are getting exploited by these organizations, either to help them get there or even just to allow them to leave. And we see that in places like Haiti as well.
Do you know if anyone has been captured from that particular voyage that landed Thursday?
Well, there's an ongoing investigation, right? Some of those migrants did make it to shore. The majority of those were repatriated to Haiti. But when we do identify a potential smuggler, we will typically bring those ashore Homeland Security investigations will typically lead investigation into that. And we've had a number of those cases over the last year. So if you remember the last time I talked to you, we had increased our operations back in August to deal with this gradual increase in the flow of migrants throughout the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And we are doing that again. So we are doing a surge within a surge. We're bringing all those resources to bear.
Admiral Brendan McPherson, Coast Guard 7th District in Miami, always great to have you. We so appreciate the information you bring to us.
Yeah, thank you very much, Glenna.